It's my great pleasure and my great honor to introduce our guest speaker, Professor Hill Krishnan, who's going to talk about the nuclear power in the 21st century and Iran's role as an aspiring nuclear power. This lecture could not be more timely. If you look into the newspaper, very nearly not a day goes by without some article or some news item coming up about Iran and the crisis that is evolving there. Professor Krishnan is a particularly interesting speaker on the topic because of his dual background in engineering and political science. Hill Krishnan has already been actively involved in helping disadvantaged undergraduate students through NYU's opportunity programs and has expressed his wish to give back to the community and the country that he feels have helped him personally to truly live the American dream. Finally, talking about a well-rounded personality, when preparing for the lecture, I found out that our speaker is also an entertainer who has performed dancing, acting, and stand-up comedy all his life on stage, TV, commercials, and movies. I took a class with Professor Krishnan on international relations last year at NYU, and I can testify that I left each class feeling not only enriched and enlightened, but also elated. I hope that you will share that feeling. Please give a big round of applause to our guest speaker.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. What is terrorism? Because we have so many notions we think about terrorism. It is hard to define terrorism. Tell me what your understanding of terrorism is. What is terrorism? Yes, ma'am. Okay, then let me ask you a question. Can a terrorist come from our country, our own country inside here? So it's not just people from outside. Because we had, you know Timothy McVeigh? Have you heard of him? Yeah. Oklahoma bombing. He's a terrorist. He's an American, white Christian American, and killed so many people. A terrorist act. So what is terrorism? Visa, like MasterCard Visa, V-I-S-A. What is Visa? V for violence or threat of violence. So if somebody says this act is terrorism, an act of terrorism, next time media says, you could tell whether it is an act of terrorism or not using this general specification and make sure that all these four V-I-S-A satisfy before you could tell that it's an act of terrorism. Violence or threat of violence is there. V. I. Innocent, which I meant is non-combatant, like indiscriminately attacked. If it is combatants on the battlefield killed by a suicide bomber, that's not terrorism. That's why we don't call the kamikaze pilots who came and crashed in American decks as not terrorists. We don't call it. But innocent people are targeted. There's not combatants, the civilians. So it's I, okay? S, it's staged to create fear, he said. It is usually not, if somebody is going in a dark alley and a guy comes up with a gun or a knife and tries to take your wallet, he's not trying to create a news out of it. In fact, if there's nobody notices, it's good for him. He wants to get your money. That's all he's thinking about. He's not thinking about how the media is going to create an image about what his aim is. So that being said, it's staged for fear, S, and the last letter, A. Aim, his aim, a terrorist aim. He has a political agenda, ideology, he mentioned, political agenda, economic or state rights, whatever. The only way to prevent nuclear terrorism is the elimination of nuclear weapons. With that, I conclude, and thank you all so much for coming and participating, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful.